Welcome students, welcome to my next video. Before I start with this lesson, I would like to thank all the students who have given me the feedback. It is really encouraging. So that inspires me to take more and more video. Please do comment in the comment box and keep supporting. My dear students, before I start with this topic, I would rather ask you to, if you like the video, please do like it. If you have not subscribed the video, please subscribe it. And also, if the people are not aware of this video, Learn History with Thomas Sir, please do give awareness and please do share this so that they may benefit it during this COVID pandemic. Well, my dear students, today's topic which I'm going to take is contemporary India, good governance. It is topic number 5, SYJC, Arts. Now, my dear students, what is good governance? That's the first question comes to our mind. When I say good governance means the government which makes policies, but they run their administration according to what the citizens want. They run their administrations, they make their policies such that their citizens are happy. I would say that is what is called a good governance. And not only that, the government should be transparent. They should not hide any agendas. They should not hide anything that should be visible to the public. So, my dear students, we are reflecting on today what is good governance. Now, in this chapter, we shall explore the concept of good governance and the citizen-centric administration, which has become an important aspect of changing nature of public administration, particularly in the era of globalization. If you speak about the era of globalization, we mean to have a citizen-centric administration. That is why they are having several policies as such, where nothing has been hidden from the citizen. Now, my dear students, let us begin with few questions. What is government? Now, what is government? Government is a body which runs the administration. Simple. I'm just giving a simple answer to it. I don't want to give you a high-fi answer. There are several answers which we can put it. But I would say in a very simple way, what is a government? It is a local body which runs the administration and which is for the people. And what is governance? Is day-to-day administration. And what should be the role of the government in citizens' administration? It's very simple. They have to satisfy whatever the needs of the citizen. And should they play any role, and how can they play that role, is when the people come to the government offices. I'll just give you an example. Right from the peon to the officers are corrupt. Right from the peon. We need to give money to move our files from one place to another, from one table to another. So all this, all this should be avoided. Then we can say it is a good governance. Or we have always a complaint. Oh, I want to make a ration card. It is taking more than 1 month because I'm not paying money. Oh, I want to make a PAN card. I need to contact an agent. Oh, I want to make an Aadhaar card. I need to give more money so that I may not stay in line, and I may click the photograph, and within 15 days or maybe within 30 days I could get my Aadhaar card. See, all these are not the good governance. These are the negative aspects. Okay, my dear students, further we will see that we as citizens come in contact with government administrative machinery on daily basis. For instance, as I told you, ration card, PAN card, Aadhaar card. We may have complaints against the local government. They are not repairing or maintaining roads. They are not clearing garbage. And we also have government administrative agencies respond to various demands, needs, requirements of citizens, which will determine the success and the failure of the government administration. In 1980s, there has been an increasing focus on the performance of the public administration institution. To ensure performance, it is necessary to value like accountability, responsibility, and transparency. And citizens' feedback needed to be introduced to the realm of public administration. What is the role of the state towards its citizen? We have learned in the 11th standard. We saw the role of public administration. We saw there was a narrow role described as POSD-CORB. A border role included 3 branches of the government. We also saw how the concept of the development of administration brought in change in the traditional role. We noted development administration, the citizens play important role in public administration. Today, besides government, various non-state actors like non-governmental agencies are there, play a supportive role in public administration. The word used to describe cooperative effort of the government and non-governmental bodies in public administration is governance. There is a broader view of public administration. Thus, the governance in the broader sense, we say that it includes not only formal institutions of the government, but also NGOs and civil society organizations, in the private sector organizations. The concept of governance also aims to improve performance of public institutions with a focus of citizen. Now we will see evolutions and meanings. Several changes have took place in the world in 1990s. These changes include 1. Globalization in world economy. Globalization has several dimensions. The technological revolution in the sector of the communication brought into internet, mobile communication, TV. This development and growth of social networking brought in instant connectivity and transparency in the administrative system. Now, my dear students, along with what it has been said over here, internet and mobile, I would like to add even Instagram, your Facebook, your WhatsApp. These are also included in this, the technological revolution. This has made the government transparent. International economic relations changed the trade investments. Because of this important economic issues, this made international funding agencies more influential. Now, my dear students, when I say international funding agencies more influential, that leads to the second one, that is international institutions. There is a growing influence of international fundings like international monetary funds, World Banks, Asian Development Banks, United Nations Development Programs, United Nations Environmental Programs, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. These donors agencies are now influence the policies of the third world countries. They wanted to perform in traditional administrative setup of the countries that were seeking aid. Now, the third point I would like to stress on is non-state actor. When I say non-state actor, it is the voluntary organizations, non-governmental organizations started to play a greater role in public administration. These changes brought in rethinking to the approaches to the public administration. It was felt that the traditional approach of the public administration would not satisfy the requirement of the citizens. This brought a shift from the public administration as an approach to the governance. Governance approach is a break to the traditional model public administration. This reform sought to revamp traditional anarchy, sized public administration riddled with delay, red tape, and corruption. It aimed to replace old system with a responsive, responsible, participative, equitable public administration. The new model is popularly known as a good governance model. The model also looked at interlinkage between state and civil society. This model wanted to make administration citizen-centered and not rule-bound. Now, my dear students, following are the charts gives a clear idea of the values that are part of the model: accountability, transparent, responsive, equitable and inclusive, effective and efficient, follow the rules, participatory, and consensus oriented. Now, my dear students, we will see what are the values of the good governance. The value of the good governance are participatory. It is one of the most effective and essential aspects of the good governance. Effective functioning of any democratic system, we require support of people's participation. It ensures the voices and the choices of the people are to be heard. People get an opportunity to participate in the process of decision making and its implementation. Rule of law. The supremacy of the law of the land, that is constitution, is another core value of the good governance. The constitutional values are the guiding and post of the administration. All are treated equally in front of the law. It ensures a just and fair polity and the rights of the people are safeguarded. The next one is transparency, which is the utmost thing required in this modern governance. The culture of secrecy has been challenged by the value of transparency. This enables the people to keep good government under public scrutiny. Since 2005, Right to Information Act has been giving the citizen the right to seek information related to the functioning of the government. Responsiveness. Good governance requires institutions and process try to serve stakeholders within responsible time frame. The government is prompted in taking decisions, especially to pay heeds to the problems and designs and policies accordingly. Consensus oriented. Now, what is consensus oriented? Before you take any decision, the government takes the decision, they have to consult with public. Now, it is not possible for all the public to get into this decision-making power. So we are electing one candidate who is going to speak on our behalf. So they have to take the consensus from those people, whether the person is from the ruling party or from the opposition party. So at the interest of the whole community, The consensus have to be taken to achieve the goal. Okay, not only that, equity and inclusiveness. Society's well-being depend on ensuring that all members feel that they have a stake in it. No one should feel excluded from the mainstream of the society. This requires all groups, but particularly the most vulnerable, have opportunities to improve, maintain their well-beings. My dear students, next is effectiveness and efficiency. Good governance means process of institution produces results that meets the needs of the people while making best use of the resources at their disposal. The concept of efficiency in the context of good governance also covers sustainable use of natural resources and the protection of the environment. But it is very sad, my dear students. We don't see a good governance now. We can see all the resources are available which have been given to Adani, which has been given to Reliance. A handful of people are getting this resources which are available in society. The lowest rung of the society, they are not a part of it. So we can say effectiveness and efficiency is missing now in the governance. Then accountability. When I say accountability, the government is accountable to the public. Accountability is a key requirement of good governance. Not only the governmental institution, but also private sectors and civil society organization must be accountable to the public and to their institutional stakeholders. Who is accountable to whom depends on whether the decision or the action taken in the internal or external to an organization or institution. In general, organization or institution is accountable to those who will be affected by its decision or action. Accountability should be enforced without transparency and the rule of law. Now, my dear students, who are the agencies who have to take the initiative for good governance? And it should be citizen-centric administration in India. In the post-independent period, India adopted socialist welfare model of development. The development administration approach had the focus on the people's participation. However, despite of periodic efforts of the programs, genuine participation of the people in the process of governance was not able to be achieved because the people of lower rank, they are hungry, they want food, they are not interested in governmental agencies or what the government is doing. The Department of Administrative Reforms, Public Grievance under Ministry of Personal and Public Grievances and Pension Government of the India looks after the administrative reforms in India. Its objectives are promote administrative reforms in the government policies and structures and the processes, promote citizen-centric governance with emphasis on the governance redressal and conduct innovation in e-governance. The Second Administrative Reforms Commission, ARC, the Second Administrative Reform, ARC, was set up with a mandate to prepare blueprint for revamping the public administrative system in India. It has expected to suggest measures to achieve proactive, responsive, accountable, sustainable, and effective administration for the country to all levels of the government. One of the main tasks of the commission was concerned with citizen-central or citizen-centric administration. The commission maintained that the governance in order to the citizen-centric should be participative and transparent. That the citizen should be transparent, a government should be transparent, and citizens should be participative. And it should be effective, efficient, and responsive to the citizen, not to the leaders. Furthermore, the ethos of the serving that the citizen should, pre-emit all the government organizations. Government organization should be accountable to the people. One of the primary functions of the state is to promote welfare of its citizen. Therefore, an evaluation of the functioning of the government, functioning of the institution of the governance will ultimately have based on satisfaction they provide to the citizen. In regards to the prominence, we shall prominence would need to be attached to the voice of the citizen themselves. Now, my dear students, I come to an end of the first part of my video. I'll come with the second part. Students, if you like the video, please do like it. If you have not subscribed it, please do subscribe it and also share it with others. I wish you all the best.